the other day. The two women who taunted a man who was running late, apparently, for his plane, have been fired. Let me just make sure that the volume is not blisteringly loud to blow out your eardrums.
The Mayday flight, you did, and you think you're gonna check me in? I bet you we won't. Hey?
I paid for a ticket.
And you didn't pay $25 for agent assist fee, and you checked it 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that I.
Get on your flight.
I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in.
We don't need to watch this whole thing again.
You ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for. I'm here 30 minutes before the flight.
Can you please leave, sir?
No.
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space. This is not.
We don't need to play the whole thing. I want to highlight.
They're not letting me check.
There was a guy at the end. This guy right down here. What did he just say?
For no reason whatsoever.
This guy right here.
You said you're never flying the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline.
You said you're never flying the airline again, so we figured we might as well help you out. TMZ is reporting, and this is not cancel culture, people. Call me the sissy Canadian that I know some of you are going to call me. I feel bad for these people. I don't know if all three of them were fired. TMZ is reporting that a couple of gate agents got terminated from their gigs with #Frontier Airlines after mocking a customer who was trying to check in for his flight, getting the boot after video of their tense exchange went viral. What I want to see in that story, I just want to see if there were any references to the interwebs. Let me just see something here. No, good. So long as I'm not referenced in the article, because we put that on blast. Not so that people can get fired just because, first of all, it was hilariously ridiculous. Did both of them? Footage circulating online shows Frontier customer trying to check into their counter. Yet things go south when the agents mention a $25 fee to check in with them in person. The guy balks at the fee, and you thought you were going to get that flight. Okay, he had already whipped out his phone to document the incident last Friday, and the gate agents start recording him too, and things get nasty. Frontier Airlines tells TMZ, "We are aware of what have occurred and been directly in touch with the customer. The individuals in question who work for a third-party contractor are no longer associated with Frontier account." The individuals in question, is that all three of them? Because all three of them deserve to be fired. And not out of cancel culture, people, out of not even consequence culture. If you're not going to do the job that you're hired to do, and you're going to make the company for which you are working or with which you are associated, you're going to make them look bad to the point where they are being mocked nationally and internationally, expect to lose your job. All right, people, as you can clearly tell, I'm on the road. I'm in a very fancy hotel. There was not even the option to upgrade for fast internet, so I hope that it's going to be good enough. You can see the cherry bag luggage in the back. Something is asymmetrical here, and it's driving me just a little crazy. I got to say it like this. We've got one hell of a show today, so don't be deterred by the backdrop. We've got Ivan Raiklin back on the show. If you don't know who he is, he's going to introduce himself. His nickname is the Deep State Marauder. And I was going to start off this show with that Canadian singer who made it onto a show. I forget what it was called for his amazing rendition of Marauder. Canadian musician had battled drugs and as many did, passed away from overdose during COVID as a result of the circumstances of Canada and the world. I didn't want to start off on a bad note. If you have not heard the song Marauder by Jesse, I'm going to forget his last name, but I'm going to get it in a second. Go look it up. Ivan Raiklin is nicknamed the Deep State Marauder. The irony is that I noticed when I put up a tweet with Ivan Raiklin, a bunch of people refer to him as Deep State. Those accounts typically are either newly created accounts with numbers at the end of their names, or just, trolls. If you don't know who Ivan Raiklin is, go back and watch the interview that I did with him a while back. I forget when it was, but I remember where Ivan was, and it was amazing. Ivan, as far as I can tell, is wicked smart, hella dogged, and he's someone you'd want to have as a friend and an ally, and certainly not as an enemy. And he's got an amazing story, which, I mean, it's not fly under the radar because it's a breaking story, but we're going to put it on blast because Ivan is being sued as a co-defendant along with the CIA by a woman. He's going to mention all the details, but a woman who claims that she got terminated and defamed as a result of Ivan Raiklin putting on blast that she was responsible for what Ivan refers to as an illegal criminal mandating of the COVID jab, and had been offered apparently a gig with the CIA. Ivan put this gig on blast, and it seems that the gig that this woman had with the CIA is no longer a gig that she has with the CIA, and now she's suing a whole slew of people. I'm not sure if Laura Loomer's in the lawsuit, but Ivan's going to talk about it. I tweeted out a 30-minute video that Ivan did, something of a press conference outside the courthouse. If you didn't watch that, you might have a bit of a sharp learning curve, but we're going to let Ivan explain what's going on. Share the link around. Rumble has been having its problems today, and I only started on YouTube as a backup just in case there was a problem and we needed to communicate with the world. So I'm going to end this on YouTube in a matter of minutes because CommieTube does not deserve our presence. Rumble has been under a DDoS attack, which is a denial of service, direct denial of service, Encryptus.
Distributed denial.
Distributed denial of service. And for those, Encryptus, we need to have an avatar when you pop up so that people don't think like the voice of God has just descended. There we go. Encryptus is the backstage helping hand to Viva. Agent Guru _IO on Twitter. Encryptus in our wonderful locals community. Distributed denial of service, basically overwhelming the servers so that they can't do their functions, but it looks like we're doing pretty good. Share the link around, let everybody know what's going on. CommieTube, we're going to be done in about 2 minutes after Ivan pops in, gives his introduction, and then if you want to watch it, you can come on over to Rumble. Ivan, sir, you can enable your camera and your microphone as soon as you feel comfortable. Get your shirt on. Look at this, man. Dude, how's it going? Wait, no,
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for having me back on.
Dude, first of all, it's funny. We've never have we met in person ever? It feels like we have
never met. We were trying to make it. I was trying to make it in studio down in Florida last time, but it just didn't work out due to timing. So not yet.
We're gonna do it, Ivan. I don't know if I asked you the last time. You look like you're in incredible shape. Like, have you ever done any mixed martial arts fighting type stuff?
I try to, at most, do exercise at least once a year. Sometimes I'm lucky and I do it once a month.
And I'm going to Google while you're talking because there's a UFC fighter that you are the spitting image of. I just have to, I totally forget his name.
Yeah, his name is Georges St. Pierre.
No, it's not GSP. There's another one. And Ivan, before we get started, how tall are you?
So a lot of people think that I'm 3'2". I'm a little bit taller than that. I'm just 5'7".
You're an inch and a half taller than me. It's like no matter who I find, still taller than me. Ivan, I tried to do my best to introduce you, the deep state marauder. I think everybody knows who you are in the chat, but give them the 30,000-foot overview before we briefly summarize our last interview, and then we get into what the hell you are being pulled into now.
Yeah, let me just start off and say this is what they claim. This was the CIA attorney's response, and then I'm also going to add what reality is, okay? And then I have receipts to back it all up. So here's kind of what happened. So last Friday, Terry Adirham, who used to be the person at DOD, the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Policy, and she was the one that wrote what's called the implementation memo. So Lloyd Austin wrote the mandate, but it only mandated the FDA-approved jabs, or vaccines, I should say. She took it upon herself, along with whoever was in the staffing process, which we're about to find out who was all involved in that deliberative process, to then write a memorandum dated September 17th of 2021. It's actually right here, which basically said mandatory vaccination of service members using the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 and Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccines. Now, the Comirnaty one was the FDA-approved one, but the BioNTech one was the emergency use authorized product. Problem with that, though, is also the one that was labeled Comirnaty was never produced. So she wrote this memo saying that you have to take something, and the only one available was the emergency use one. Me and my closest, I don't know, at that time, hundreds to thousands and tens of thousands of friends, now millions, said that that was unlawful. And we've been litigating it throughout different courts and venues throughout the years. So,
Ivan, if I may stop you periodically, because you
Yes.
suffer from presumed knowledge of those watching. The woman whose name you mentioned, say it again.
Terry Adirem, Terry, and I wrote a Substack called "The Ending the Reign of Terry." Obviously, I had to write it that way instead of the Reign of Terror. So Adirim, and her X account is Terry Adirem MD. And by the way, after I did my Roseanne Barr interview mentioning that we have all of her Twitter DMs and communications, she nuked her account. But her account is back. And it's kind of behind, the protected account, because she doesn't want people looking in there. And now she's on Blue Sky, of course.
What was her function in 2021 when she was mandating this jab, and for whom was she mandating it?
Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs. And it was mandating that everybody in the Department of Defense, Army, Navy, Air Force, everybody, right, that needed to go ahead and take the jab. The emergency use authorized jab. And for those that don't know the legal distinctions of this, you cannot do that absent a presidential waiver in writing where it doesn't require informed consent, and you can be compelled to take the jab. So because there was no in writing waiver by the president in writing, right? She basically took it upon herself under her own authority to write what now is known as an unlawful order. And the reason why I say it's unlawful, and that's what she claims is defamatory, it's actually, as of 2 days ago, May 7th, you got something right here that says this was an unlawful order. And this is written by the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. Quote, Department of Defense has since rescinded coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 vaccination mandate, which was unlawful as implemented and an unfair, overbroad, and completely unnecessary burden on service members. As soon as that was written, May 7th, that literally officially agrees with what I've been arguing and my closest million friends, that this was unlawful, meaning her